disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976, allowance is made for fair use purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. Fair use as a use permitted it by the copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Hello, everybody, and welcome to my channel. Do me a favor, when you enter the room, please hit the thumbs up button and subscribe to my channel. Today's video we're going to talk about is funding cartels and why America is losing the fight against fentanyl, right? So we're going to get into this video. Fentanyl, we all know, is a very powerful drug, very deadly. And I'm curious to know why is America losing the battle when it comes to fighting fentanyl. So we're going to see what's going on, okay? So without further ado, let's get into the video, y'all.
Our country is being invaded. This is a war.
Drugs are killing tens of thousands of Americans every year.
Every shipment of fentanyl is a ticking time bomb. Every life lost to fentanyl is a tragedy.
Every one of those.
Let me say this. It's not so much the drug is killing people. It's the people who selling the drugs to the people that are killing people. If you don't sell it to people, if you don't put those drugs out there, then people can't get a hold of it, correct? It's almost like when people say guns kill people. No, it's the people that have access to these guns that are killing people. It's the same thing, in my opinion. Anyway, it's the same thing. Anyway, let's get back to it.
Pills is an unregulated pharmaceutical that can snuff out your life like that.
Yeah.
You're playing Russian roulette. As Mexican cartels flood the country with illegal painkillers.
The Sinaloa cartel supplies most of the fentanyl in the U.S. and is largely responsible for more than 100,000 overdose deaths in 2021 alone.
This is not like cocaine or heroin. This is a synthetic.
People in the United States say, oh, these drugs are all coming from Mexico, but it's only part of the story.
CBS reports journeys to a cartel stronghold.
They're probably checking us out, if they haven't already.
It is said that all the names of the passengers landing in Culiacan, the cartels know who they are.
To uncover why the U.S. government is failing to stop them.
What is your role in the Sinaloa cartel?
She was a different kid. She was beautiful and smart and funny and social. She was a mom. She has a beautiful son. She was a free spirit. She was just an amazing human. She's not with us anymore.
What happened?
On May 23rd of 2021, she purchased 4 tablets from a lifetime drug dealer. And then she was poisoned to death by half a tablet of what she thought was Percocet, but contained 5 milligrams of fentanyl.
Okay, wait a minute. I'm confused already. So basically her daughter was already getting high because she was buying drugs from off of a drug dealer, which she thought was Percocets. Okay, Percocets, but instead she was given these pills that was, I guess, laced with fentanyl. Wow. I want to know, could you tell, like, somewhat of a difference in the pill between Percocet in a pill that's a fentanyl, or is it the same color? Does it has like a slight difference in the color, like something, or is it you can tell, but people just don't care? They just look for that next high. They really not paying attention to it, or whatever the case may be. All they know is they just want to get that next high, and they just popping the pill or whatever the case may be, and moving on with their day, only to find out that they're overdosing off of this shit. I don't know. I don't take drugs. I mean, I know I had a lot of family that was on drugs and all that other stuff, but this is a whole new level of drugs, you know. But I don't know. I'm still learning this shit, because drugs is a powerful thing, and it's sad that so many people have lost their lives over drugs. So many people have destroyed their lives over drugs. You know, so anyway, let's get back into the video, y'all.
One half of one tablet. A lot of the PSAs say one pill can kill, but it was actually one half of the pill that killed her. The grief of losing a child is immense. It's like strangles you. You can't breathe.
Thank you for sharing your story. It's really important because this is unlike the drugs that we saw anytime before.
No, I don't think you ever recover from the loss of a child. I don't think you do. I just think you learn to live with it. But you don't heal from it. Instead, you fight. My government's going to do something. I believe that with all my heart.
Fentanyl was designed as a miracle painkiller, especially to help cancer patients. But over
Okay, that was sad to see this lady cry over, you know, losing her daughter, just over half a pill, you know, and she feels that the government is going to do something about it. The government's going to do absolutely nothing about it. Why? Because the government are the ones that's allowing it in. So you can't be this naive and slow to think that the government is going to control or regulate this drug. Think about it. This is the government, right? And if fentanyl is this most powerful drug there is right now, don't you think that if the government, if they really wanted to, it would have really been under control? It's the same thing with the guns. If you wanted guns off the street, and if it was really that important, these guns wouldn't be on the streets. So think about it. Who do you think that's allowing all of this stuff to happen? The government. Everybody got to get paid, right? That's what makes the world go round, right? But I agree with this lady. It's sad. You don't get over the fact that a parent loses a child. You just have to learn to just go on with life without them, but you will never heal from it. I agree with her on that, because I can't imagine somebody telling me, and I got 2 sons, and I can't imagine somebody telling me that either one of my sons is dead. I would probably lose my goddamn mind. I mean, I would go on with life, but it would be very, very difficult to do. And that's the message that she's giving. So I understand that, and I feel her pain on that. So anyway, let's get back to the video.
the past decade, illicitly produced fentanyl became the most commonly abused drug in America and the world's deadliest opioid. Knockoffs supercharged an epidemic and renewed a rallying cry for the U.S. war on drugs.
The Sinaloa cartel supplies most of the fentanyl in the U.S.
50 times more powerful than heroin.
Plaguing communities and destroying lives from coast to coast.
The most common cause of poisoning deaths of children.
One of the most pressing national security and public health challenges, costing the nation an estimated $1 trillion a year.
Every shipment of fentanyl is a ticking time bomb. Every life lost to fentanyl is a tragedy.
Listen, if the government can find Bin Laden, whatever his name, however you pronounce his name, if they can go in and find his ass, you mean to tell me they can't find all these cartel places and bomb them the fuck up? If the government really wanted to stop this epidemic, go and arrest these cartels. Put your ass in motion. Put your foot on the ground. If America really care about American people, the way you found Bin Laden, you go in there and you find these cartels. But you're not going to do that, right? Again, everybody got to be paid, right? Somebody's hands got to be in the pot, right? And who's better way to put their hands in the pot? Keep it circulating. The government. Anyway, let's get back to the video. This is some bullshit.
This port of entry sees more fentanyl than any other port of entry in the U.S. In fact, over half of it is interdicted here. And the problem just keeps growing and growing and growing. In the first 6 months of 2023, officers have seized more fentanyl than they had in the last 5 years combined.
You see a lot of 200,000 pill loads. We've seen all the way up to 1.6 billion pills in a load.
The numbers are so astronomical.
Every one of those pills is an unregulated pharmaceutical that can snuff out your life like that. So that's 200,000 bullets in a gun. You're playing Russian roulette. Every time you take one of these pills, it's being made in a warehouse someplace in Mexico.
I was ambassador to Mexico from 2019 to 2021.
Tell me about the U.S. and its war on the cartels, war on drugs.
We've been trying to eradicate drugs and get that issue under control for 50 years, and frankly have not been very successful. I think the problem has gotten worse. We're facing really a new kind of problem. So I'm particularly concerned about what that means for where we go from here.
In 2023, the White House announced a crackdown against illicit fentanyl supply chains. President Biden asked Congress for more than $46 billion to do it.
So let's launch a major surge to stop fentanyl production and the sale and trafficking with more drug detection machines, inspection cargo, stop pills and powder at the border.
Troy Miller is in charge of America's border agency.
You have the president speaking. President. The same president that's allowed hundreds and thousands of immigrants into this country that comes from a lot of these places, and we don't even know who they are. He's talking about stopping fentanyl at the border. You can't even stop immigrants at the border. The same ones that's probably also bringing in fentanyl, on them. We don't know. You're not frisking these people. You're not petting them down. You're not doing any of that. But we're going to sit here and listen to the president talk about we want to stop this at the border. Really? No, that's the lie you want to tell the people. And for the people that want to believe this malarkey, you need your brain evaluated. This is crazy. And he's talking about we've been trying to stop the cartels for 50 years. 50 years, you got the Army, the Navy, the Air Force. You got all of these people, boots on the ground, boots in the air, boots swimming in the ocean. And you mean to tell me you can't crack this stuff? You've been doing this for 50 years? And you expect for Afro to believe some malarkey like that? Just in here, listen to this man say that they've been trying to crack this down for the past 50 years. I want to slap the shit out of him, tell you the truth. Slap him clean off their chair for even saying something like that to the American people. I don't know what y'all think this is. I don't know who you think you're playing with. Afro is not going. Not going. This is some bull. Let's get back into the video. Pissing me off.
I think CBP is well positioned to lead the government in our counter fentanyl efforts. This last year, we had an operation called Blue Lotus where we surged resources to California and Arizona, and we seized 10,000 pounds of fentanyl in 2 months.
Operations are temporary. Do you have the resources and the commitment from the federal government to really tackle this in a way that will have a measurable impact?
It is one of our top priorities. Do we need additional resources to continue to do what we're doing? Yes, this is not like cocaine or heroin. This is a synthetic, so it's very difficult to estimate what we're catching and what we're not. Seizures don't necessarily mean anything other than we're seizing more drugs. We're going to continue to figure out ways to affect the supply chain.
Aren't these strategies, though, the same strategies that we've employed for decades now? What's different?
I think our partnerships are better than ever. We're never going to stop narcotics completely, but I believe that we can have an effect on fentanyl and the folks that are smuggling fentanyl.
Officials concede that seizing drugs is only one step in curbing the power of the cartels. To find out how cartels maintain the upper hand in
Okay, so help me understand. The guy just said you would never stop drugs, but you want to stop fentanyl. So you don't want to stop the drugs, basically is what you're saying. You just want to stop. You want the drugs to continue. You just want to stop fentanyl epidemic. Does this make sense? This don't make sense to me at all. Because what it's telling me is, just by you saying that, you can stop drugs if you wanted to. Because if you're saying that you just want to stop fentanyl, that tells me you can stop all other drugs. But you just don't want people to die off so sudden off fentanyl. But you want to keep people high as a kite every day. Out there homeless, all in the street, as if this is a good thing. For people to walk around seeing loved ones all leaning, bent over, dirty, stinking, crowding up the streets with tents. You want to see that, though. These are your American people. Do you not understand? Do you not understand this? What you're doing to your own people? You are allowing it. The government is allowing it. So stop with the bull. Because I don't want to hear this shit. Well, I mean, I got to hear it in order to see what the hell is going on. But what I'm saying is, this is some bullshit. Let's get back to the video.
this battle, we have to go beyond the border.
This is Sinaloa cartel territory.
Absolutely.
You've dealt with them many, many years now.
Yes. They know me, I know them.
Miguel Angel Vega is a journalist born and raised in the heart of narco territory. We hired him to show us a side of this cartel stronghold that only locals usually get to see. This is Culiacan, home base for the Sinaloa cartel, fortified by a vast surveillance network.
Roughly how many people are we talking about?
We're talking at least 2,000 people.
Wow. In the city?
All over the city. All over the city. Not to mention the sicarios, the gunmen.
They're probably checking us out, if they haven't already.
It is said that all the names of the passengers landing in Culiacan, the cartels, know who they are. Still, there is a sense of fear that might be an undercover officer, DA, landing in Culiacan. You can make a phone call, they give you tracking your entire conversation. They have drones, they have technology, they can corrupt all the surveillance in the city.
The cartels have access to some of the most sophisticated spyware technology in the world. They have used it to launch targeted counteroffensives against anyone trying to investigate them.
So any electronic communication, we should assume that we're being monitored.
Very likely.
Yeah.
You never see them, but they see you.
So the cartels are smarter than the government. The cartels are smarter than the FBI and all of them. The cartels are smarter than everybody on this planet. Is that what he's saying to me? Is that what he's saying to y'all? Something ain't right here. I figure that, how about people learn, like the government and all of that, they learn Espanol, right? And they take their asses over the border line and get to finding some shit, right? To take these people down. Now, unless y'all telling me that these cartels is more powerful than the government, then guess what? What the guy said before is void. Because you're not gonna stop no drugs, nor no more than you're gonna stop fentanyl. In a minute, they're gonna have some kind of drug. All you gotta do is sniff it, and it's gonna take you out. Y'all keep playing. Keep playing. This is no joke. People being on drugs is not. It's no joke. It's not cute. It's not funny. It's sad, and people are losing their lives over it. Anyway, let's get back to the video.
That was just a sort of a performance and an homage to Jesus Malverde, who is a sort of a folkloric figure. He is sort of known as the Robin Hood for drug traffickers. People come to this shrine to pay homage, to leave their US dollar blessings. This is evidence of just how revered Jesus Malverde is here.
The cartel is so deeply entrenched here that narcos are practically indistinguishable from locals who act as important allies.
You're gonna see all these baseball caps with, images or figures related to the narcos. Chapo here. You see the initials of Joaquin Guzman Loera. You see all the drug lords.
Locally, these guys they're revered.
They're like heroes.
Heroes.
When I was like 12 years old, and I used to speak with my classmates, like, what do you want to be when you grow older? And we used to tell narco. They don't want to be the next Michael Jordan. They want to be the next Chapo.
Despite being one of the world's biggest economies, Mexico consistently underperforms, according to the World Bank. More than 40% of the population lives below the poverty line.
Let's say the idea that Americans would want to wipe out cartels would not sit well with people here.
It's not like they're gonna fight for them, but if they can, they will protect these narcos.
But these cartels are also responsible for untold violence and death.
The way the people say it here is they don't mess with us, so we're fine.
Narcos commit the vast majority of murders across Mexico and are notorious for their particularly gruesome killing tactics.
They're criminals, and we know that sooner or later they will have to pay.
Vega says it's not just in life that cartel members are revered, that around here, even in death, their influence and status casts a long shadow.
Miguel Ángel Vega. This is Cementerio Jardines de Lumaya, Jardines de Lumaya Cemetery, and you're gonna see some massive tombs.
Vega says this is the opulent final resting place of former drug lords and their loved ones.
This is like 5-story building, and it is actually
This is what kills me, right? You got people of Mexico worshiping cartels, you know, giving them money, whatever the case. This is all weird. And what makes it even more weird, crazy, stupid, dumb, all kinds of words you can use to describe it. You have this place where as though all the cartels are placed in their families. And you have a cross, right, on these tombstones or whatever the heck I'm looking at. It looks confusing to me. It just does. But you have this big cross as if they're supposed to rest in peace and be at peace with God. And God is supposed to accept them. Now, let me make this clear. I am not a religious person. That's not what I do. But I'm talking about the people that does, the Christians or whatever, that bear witness to this cross. So God is supposed to give them, never mind that you done killed thousands, probably millions of people. You treat your own people like crap, right? But you're supposed to be get into the gates of heaven or something. I'm trying to understand this concept here. When it comes to these countries that's doing the most crimes and they're being worshipped and wearing crosses and all kinds of stuff as if this stuff is okay for them to do. I don't understand. I mean, in a sense, I don't understand. Because quite clearly I do understand. This is some bull crap. Okay? This makes no sense at all. Man, whatever. Let's move on to
a tomb. This is a replica of the Taj Mahal.
Wow. I don't think I've ever seen a cemetery quite like this.
Like this one right here. This could be like a little condo.
These are house sizes.
There are no inscriptions whatsoever, no dates, no names, nothing. I spoke to one of the architects and he was telling me like this tomb, for example, $500,000, American dollars. Because it's Florentine marble. They have AC and TV and a kitchen also.
This is insane. I swear that you were driving through a residential neighborhood.
U.S. Southern Command estimates that transnational criminal organizations.
Did y'all see what I just saw? Okay, these are the places that that the bodies are being buried in, held in, or whatever. Millions of dollars for these buildings, right? And these buildings look like houses. They look like houses. These buildings cost millions. You know what? I'm so, I'm so disturbed right now that I'm tripping off my own words. I can't even get it out, right? Because that was crazy. You got buildings made that looks like houses and castles and I can't. Let's just get back into the video.
Organizations make $310 billion a year, and disrupting that money flow is a critical part of the Biden administration's drug control strategy. They do that largely by monitoring electronic transactions, but drug deals are conducted mostly with cash. If cartels took that money to a bank, the government could trace it to specific people and arrest them. To avoid that, they turn to streets like this, where they can exchange dollars for pesos off the books.
What are we looking at here?
You see all these umbrellas?
Yeah.
These women are dollars exchangers.
Uh-huh.
So you're gonna see a whole bunch of this.
Wow.
Like maybe 300. I'm gonna ask, what's the rate? I'm gonna just stop.
Yeah. Oh, here's two young women here.
¿Cómo está el cambio?
17.5.
17.5 lo compras.
Ay, nada más te ven abajo. Nada más te ven abajo.
But every now and then, like, someone comes along with $500,000. $500,000. And they go like, well, I want to exchange this.
So money laundering is like coursing through the city.
The government knows this. Every single person in this city, we all know that.
According to the U.S. Defense Department, Mexico's drug cartels control more than a third of the entire country. In 2019, Mexico's president created a new militarized police force that he called the National Guard. But frequently, their firepower is outmatched by the cartels, who are armed with an arsenal of weapons that they smuggle in from the U.S.
The U.S. government is aware that these criminal organizations are armed up with weaponry coming from the U.S., one of their main sources of power. How is it that more isn't being done?
That was one of the conclusions that I came to very quickly after arriving in Mexico as ambassador, that we could and should be making a priority in this. This is not DEA's issue. As ambassador, I tried to shift the focus to this issue. I asked the Justice Department to brief me on what was being done in our country to try to curb this flow of weapons. We talk about these Mexican criminal organizations and how bad they are, but we have responsibility from the United States for arming them.
In June of 2023, the Biden administration announced it was making it a new priority to stop cartels from smuggling firearms out of the country. And senior justice officials acknowledged that the U.S. is a source of the lion's share of guns trafficked into Mexico. People question whether police and the armed forces are really there to protect the population. For decades, Mexican law enforcement has been linked to human rights abuses, including forced disappearances, torture, and extrajudicial killings, including that of 5 unarmed civilians caught on video in the spring of 2023.
The government violated human rights, that for sure, that happened. And not so long time ago. Corruption in Mexico has affected every single part of its institutions, not only at the federal level, but state and local levels as well. And we are fighting corruption very seriously.
The cartel has deep, deep roots within the country. That makes it so appealing for so many people.
Thankfully, we are investing a lot of resources on small and medium-sized communities because this is where the problem has developed.
And by the way, in a lot of those communities, people actually like the cartels more than they like the government.
Well, I mean, I know where you're coming from. That's
And we heard that for ourselves.
I have. I do not think that that's the case. There was a big problem, that's for sure, and you are right. We need to acknowledge that. We do not acknowledge we had that problem, then we cannot move forward. Still a long way ahead, but we are in the right direction.
You gotta take this call. You gotta take this call. Sí, te escucho.
Drug cartels are not completely underground here. They function more like a shadow government and can be reached with the right connections.
Okay, no te preocupes. Vale.
What's the latest?
This man is gonna talk to us.
Who is this?
This is a major player inside the Sinaloa cartel. It's not just anybody. He's way high. Way high. When I say way high, it's someone who travels to China, goes to South America, he goes to Europe.
Everywhere the Sinaloa cartel has its tentacles.
Yes. He's one of the decision makers.
What do you know of this location?
Usually that's where they dump the bodies, the executions, they dump bodies in this neighborhood. So, yeah, I know.
You ready?
Yes, I am.
Tell me when we need to turn off the cameras.
Yeah, I think by now you should put the cameras down.
1.5 kilometers. Turn right.
All right, here we go. What is your role in the Sinaloa cartel?
Yo en la cartera de Sinaloa tengo una función de comandante. Soy el número 23.
This man wouldn't reveal his identity as a condition of speaking publicly about Sinaloa's criminal operations. He said he's been a narco for 30 years.
You're taking a risk by allowing us to come meet with you here.
Sí, señor, demasiado. Yo puedo perder en este momento de mi libertad mensualmente hasta $1 million.
He told us that while the U.S. government has been fighting a drug war, American citizens have been funding and arming the cartels.
How fast can you get a weapon of war from the U.S. here to Sinaloa?
En un día puede llegar.
In a day?
Todos los días agarran muchas armas y todos los días pasan muchas armas.
The drug money buys more guns for you.
Sí.
If the U.S. stopped buying drugs, what would happen to the cartel?
El dinero se acaba.
The U.S. government calls the Sinaloa cartel one of the most dangerous narco-terrorist organizations in the world. So are you a terrorist group?
Pues yo opino que, pues que no, porque ellos lo piden. Entonces, ¿quién es el terrorista? Yo no soy asesino. Yo soy comerciante.
He acknowledged the U.S.-led crackdown and said they were putting some parts of their fentanyl supply chain on pause, but considered it a temporary setback.
Entonces, en estos momentos estamos pasando pues, una etapa crítica. Se está controlando todo esto.
And how quickly do you think that things will return to normal?
Algunos 3 meses, pero pues nunca se acaba.
Culiacan is just one city. In regions all across Mexico, narcos are still producing fentanyl and smuggling record shipments into the U.S. U.S. intelligence estimates that cartels are actually trafficking 4 times the amount law enforcement seizes at the border.
We're not going to interdict our way out of this problem.
We are fueling the cartel's ability to run this trade.
It's just a vicious cycle that continues.
People in the United States say, oh, these drugs are all coming from Mexico. Mexico's got to fix this problem, which is certainly a legitimate point, but it's only part of the story, right? Because another part of the story is the money, the guns.
Nothing we're doing is changing, yet the problem is only growing.
That is correct.
Every passing year.
That is correct. And I do not see, to this day, any kind of recognition by the U.S. government that this is something that requires new thinking. And I think it's a failure of imagination, frankly, on our part.
We are facing a crisis the likes of which we have never seen before. We have been waging a drug war for many, many decades. It's not gotten better, it's only gotten worse. Where's the long-term win here?
Ultimately, success is going to be less deaths of American people.
Our country is being invaded. maybe not by soldiers, maybe not by bombs, but it's being invaded by drugs. We are arming them while our citizens are dying. This is a war, but we're not fighting it. We're being killed.
Well, that concludes this video. I really don't have too much to say about it because, again, and I'm going to say it again, this is some bullshit, and I'm highly agitated and pissed the fuck off because, again, the government is allowing it, just like anything else, and it's not going to stop. It is going to continue as long as money is being involved. So, I don't know. Again, America is corrupted in itself. It is self-destruction in itself. And I'm about done with this bullshit. Alright? And so, being that said, I'm going to leave it at that. And everybody out there, thank you for tuning into my video. Don't forget to like, subscribe to my channel, and leave a comment. I'm curious to see what y'all have to say about this epidemic with fentanyl and how America is losing. America is not losing. America is in on it. So that part. Anyway, thank you everybody. Everybody sit out there. I'm Afro Goddess, and I'm out.